I wanted to start with this word first. Adaptability. It's something that I will go through this session, and something that is the keyword in the last few years, transforming our company for very small to still small but more medium company. And so the team Drupal Slugs and Options, I was thinking I applied for this session even before I heard Dries' keynote from Dublin, where there was a lot of talk about Drupal as a career builder or life changer. My name is Kristijan Lukacin. I'm from Web Solutions Agency. So a little bit about me. I'm a father of 5. That's the first thing I always say, and that's is kind of icebreaker. There's my wife. She's mother of 5. I'm IT early adopter, and I live IT almost since birth. Seems like forever. I started writing, developing software like from 8 years. It was some very small music, something changing on Sinclair, ZX Spectrum. I worked on monochrome monitor, and I saw AutoCAD 2.6 then. I still have some important data on floppy disks lying around. Maybe I will send it to some museum later on. I use Kristijan@gmail.com email address. And I'm a hobbyist photographer since 2006, when my first child was born. And also, I'm a Drupal lover since the first time I lay my eyes on Drupal, and that's from version 5. And in a career, the first project was to build an ERP system for, let's say, a large company, multinational in 4 countries. So that's the background of mine. So these are the kids on Drupal Balaton. I don't know who this one is. I have only 5. So my kids are also all in Drupal. As you can see, there is a Druid stickers there, so I should maybe charge them for marketing. Regarding my educational background, I did the master's in computer sciences, then I started PhD, but then I switched to making babies, so that's also a good career choice. A little bit about the companies I worked for, and like a business history. Anyway, I'm all around. I was mostly in IT and started as a developer, then I slowly changed to like business developing and marketing and management stuff, and lately most in human resources. And currently I'm a CIO of Web Solutions Agency and Vice President of the Drupal Croatian Association. And yesterday on CXO Day, they asked me what the CIO means. What's your job? And I said it's like I have a partner, and he's CTO, and everything else is this like information officer, something. They said it could be more like CEO, like operations. So those was just a little. I'm trying to put some context to what will I present you later on in the presentation. Regarding Drupal, I will not say much. This is from some other presentation. I don't know how many of you are working with Drupal or are active in Drupal community, or know about Drupal. Are there any person here who doesn't work with Drupal? No, so we can skip this one. And Drupal history can be seen on some other presentations. So what's this about? This is about our short history in like 3 years, and what came from embracing Drupal from start. So I started with Drupal very early, but I couldn't move fully to Drupal due to, I don't know, some other projects and stuff, and I didn't know much about Drupal, and it took some time to just go fully into Drupal, and what we get out from the Drupal and Drupal community altogether. So we just rebranded a few days ago. We are a Drupal-born company, fully Drupal. Everything started on DrupalCamp Sarajevo. We are open source, and our main focus is Drupal. We don't do any other things, like 95% true. So this was the first community, first the DrupalCamp I've ever been. Unfortunately, I didn't. That's maybe one thing I regret. I didn't start like a few years earlier because I was into the Drupal. I see everything online, but I never really went to any occasion. And on the first Drupal camp, I met my partner, and we founded the company. And then everything was open. So I started drinking around Drupal camps and Drupal cons. This was from Leeds. Like the second camp we went after founding company. I will skip this few, but as you're all from Drupal, you know the Drupal community. It's nice and so why the community is important. I had a lot of experience earlier. I was IT manager. I didn't have much. I have more like 10 people most under me in few countries, and I was also educated. I do all the stuff as, I don't know, maybe somebody else. But when we started going to Drupal camps, and from the first Drupal camp, we had not only like opened some new business opportunities, but there were also lots of knowledge available free. So we didn't reinvent the wheel while on our path to building this company. And we use each of these opportunities to learn more and to do more. So what happened in like less than 3 years, officially even less, like 31 months, we transitioned from 4 to 20 plus people, hiring all the time. We transitioned from waterflow to agile development in full. Even company administration have kanbanS there to do the invoicing, like done, paid. We also started very early, like 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 6, to do the first site on Drupal 8, and now we have all new projects, if feasible, are pushed to Drupal 8 and presented to client. We are still transitioning from PHP and front-end developers to Drupal developers. That's something that's we put a lot of attention to. We're also trying to push the company from passive to active contributions. Fortunately, my partner published already. Before our company, he published more than 20 modules, so he knew everything there, and still it took us a few years to become an active contributor to Drupal. And some other small things like, this is also pretty important lately because we do prefer local teams, but we are in transition from local to distributed teams. That's also something that influences our way of using Kanban boards and communication. And our focus was moved in those 3 years from small to larger or enterprise companies. So again, all the time, the very important thing was adaptability, to adapt and to be open to change. And that's something that we have in parallel with Drupal also. So some simple stuff. Tool stack, computers, equipment. So mostly I will tell you what we've done and what we've changed in those 3 years. So Regarding tool stack, are there some general rules? So the first one I heard from yesterday also on 6.0 day, and in general, like from some people, even some larger companies, yeah, you can do that in any tool you like, you know, it doesn't matter really. But I really think that tools do matter, because we also started like, we were small, we started smaller projects, but we still kind of check few project management tools, issue management, and we took Jira. Maybe it was overhead in that time, but later on it's easier. It's much easier for us now, and we didn't have to switch from tool to tool in 3 years. We started with one tool and stay there, and it helped us to do everything we need. We can change the workflows, and some other companies say, oh, it's too complicated. Okay, you can use it more simpler. You still need to invest some time into the tool. If you think you will use every tool like, oh, this is very simple, I will use that, and then it happened a few times that just the tool can't accommodate you anymore. Like I see, let's try to make a tunnel with a shovel or stuff like that, you know. So I really think the tools and the tool stack does matter. Also, there is a company type. So when I started this company, the first rule we had and first talk we had is, okay, we'll do the company where my partner and I will feel well. You know, it will be like our second home, because it is a second home to us, and you live there, and we lately even introduced slippers to have in office, because it's more easier to work. You can put feet on table if needed. And one thing is also, I heard also on 6.0 days, some companies choose to stay small or do it this way or that way. And I don't believe in that, because if everything I learned on college and everything the real companies they're living organisms, and you can put it in petri dish and leave it to be like this, but you can also, you're there to help it to grow, like a baby or whatever. So you can choose to be small, but it's not simple. It's very complicated. If you don't have a great focus, then you will just, I think, fall apart. Because if you're not like expert in something, staying small, to have something that you're really great, and you can sell that to large companies or whoever. Last year in Vienna was a guy also from Croatia, Marko Glogovic. He's a typeface expert. He is small, he has few people just, but he's so good that he goes to like present to New York Times the things he does, and they buy that from him. So there are also different strategies if you're gonna stay small and do only small things, small sites and stuff, and you must change to that way. But we decided, from the start I said, we will not put limits to the company. We still don't want to grow too fast or have something that will not be convenient for us to live in, like to have too many bad people and then you feel bad coming to work and stuff like that. And it's not easy, but we didn't put any limits, and we are growing as, I don't know, let's say naturally, organically. It depends also on a little bit of luck you have. So this is just, you will see it on slides. I don't know, I think we use some general tool stacks. Maybe there are a little bit differences there. Somewhere we stick to Google Apps because it was convenient. Jira was from start. I'm never satisfied with the tools. So it's my some third, fifth passion. I have to check others, and it was some kind of path or some kind of also changing thing, adaptability. We tried Vagrant. We use it maybe somewhere. We have, I don't know, Vagrant Solar. We can start on any machine. We used different tools. In the end, I don't know, I prefer I do research all the time, but I prefer things that are simple and then that you can use in longer run, in less amount of time. The simplest, the better. So in most cases, I switch back to MAMP or LAMP or something. I can do many things with that. I add I can add Docker or Vagrant, Solar, things like that. Others are just the things we needed from as we evolved. Like we needed to use some mind maps for something, and then later on we do some ER diagrams for clients, doing the architecture on real entity relationship models. We also find, I don't know, UXP and stuff like that. LastPass, I saw some other large company here that also using LastPass because it's very convenient, and you can for changing passwords and stuff like that. I will not. I leave it open. I leave this thing open to if the developer knows how to use Vagrant or Docker, as Michael said in keynote. Yeah, it's okay. But we found that there are many times there are problems, and if you don't have a good DevOps in the company that can help you, a developer can lose a day configuring something on his machine, and he will go crazy, and you lose money directly. So, and it's also good to have like a backup computers maybe somewhere stocked. So if you have developers that need a devOPSing, just switch the machine. Okay, you can work here. And in that concept, you need to have a tool stack and stuff that can be like universal, more or less, easily installed. And that's kind of some kind of points or thing I was thinking here to share with you. Computers, in the start we didn't have money to buy all the laptops, so that was the only mistake we did. I think laptop is maybe something that's cool to have because you can move it. Other things, not really any real suggestions there. Personally, I've used all of them. I mostly like Macs these days due to I like things to be smooth and easy to do, to accomplish. But I'm also a DevOps, so it's not a problem to use Bash or anything there, scripting. Equipment, just a little bit. So we switched to Agile, and only thing we use are just a bunch of whiteboards. And we have a screen with Chromecast for meetings. And the great thing is also this Tesla Amazing. They have, I need to sell them for marketing. They have sticky note post-its that are magnetic and don't have a glue there. And they also have whiteboards that you can roll like a paper and put to wall. Doesn't need any glue. That was very nice, and you can make great kanbanS with it. So the next topic is jobs and projects regarding our growth. Jobs or projects, depending who calls him how. So I said, doesn't matter if it's a small or large project. It matters. It's a completely different thing to work on a small and a large project. And I said, first thing here, I believe in controlled perfection. So it's, I make a comparison to that to something like control redundancy in databases. So when I was building ERP system, on many occasions it was, in that time, the database that had 100 megabytes was very large, and it easily grew to that amount of data. And sometimes you wanted to do some report or something faster. Later on now it's called business intelligence. It was like easier to put some additional fields to some tables, like in invoicing, you could put like a sum of invoice. You wouldn't do some more complicated query to get the sum later on. And also, I believe this to be true for doing small, large projects. It's maybe a little bit hard to explain a concept. But the idea is you must not do, as we said yesterday, we want to skip any types of hacking and hacks and stuff like that in every project we do. and it's and then again, it's not always, this is more for developers, it's not always a right way, it's not always the same right way to do the right thing. Sometimes you need to think a little bit out of the box, but still do not hack the software. I will skip this one, we can do it later. Anyway, there's risks in both concepts. The concepts I'm talking about are small and large projects, small or large jobs. So if you go for many small jobs, you will have a lot of overhead, a lot of communication, a lot of time needed for that kind of thing, and then less for development. If you have large jobs, then there is a risk if you lose a client. Even from the first company where we're doing sales, where I was IT manager there, the risk was to have a client that has more than 15% of your revenue, and that's same in the projects and development. If you have a project that is more than 15% of your revenue, you have a risk there, because if the client say, "Oh, I don't want to work with you," you can even it can be very bad for your company. You can even close your company in some cases. So my job is also to have that always on mind and to try to diversify the clients, so we don't have one client that we are so dependent on. But still, I know some other companies that are very successful that have like a main client is Acquia, and they build their business upon that. So anyway you go, it's very tricky. I said we focus on large and enterprise projects, and we are going that way. So as we were on that path, just for 3 years, the smaller projects that the smallest projects we do becoming bigger and bigger. So we can't do some very small projects because it's too expensive for us, and then also for client. It's just the way the things goes, as you move forward. Also said their discovery, and I do like discoveries, are more expensive on smaller projects. So this is just some notes I also pick up from some other camps, and I think most of the Agile and project management things I pick up on DrupalCon Amsterdam. There are some great speakers there from all around the world doing the great Agile things and project management. I do try, and depending on the size of the project, we do try to sell discovery. So if the project is a little bit larger, or if the client comes with a note saying, I would like to build, and this is a quote from many people, it's not mine, I would like to build Facebook for a few $1,000s or whatever. And it's good thing to first to say, client, we have a client right now from Australia that the project I don't want to do yet. And he asked he would like to do traveling blog project, very large. His budget is very limited, and I told him first, I would not like, I think maybe you didn't think this through completely. This is maybe not good for you. I think it will take much more money than you anticipated, like 7 times more at least. And he was like thinking a little bit. I also told him we could sell you, so we can do the discovery and give you the budget more correctly. And I even didn't want to sell him the full discovery because I don't want to take his money for something that he will not do or see that is maybe over his head. And then it was a surprise to me. he called me a few days later, and I did have an audit with a consultant from Blue Sparks in USA. They're also a large Drupal company there. And he was doing audit on our company. Are we even a right company to start doing the discovery process with? And we successfully passed the audit, and we sell the first phase of discovery for a smaller budget, but just to get all the things listed from a developer's perspective, to have a rough backlog with a 40 to 60% budget variation, but to present him, okay, this is what you want to build. It will cost you approximately, depending on the complexity of the front end, from that to that amount. And do you want to proceed further? And he's still on it. We are now doing the UX there. We'll see what will happen on the last. Maybe he will find money, or finally will go or abandon the project. But initially, I directly told him, I don't think you should build this. Did you think it's true? It will just take you money and a lot of time. Do you have the time to invest to this? Because he's on completely other business. Because if you don't want, and I had that a few times in my career, even with a very large company in Croatia, doing making the tablets for curing people, and they have also pharmaceutical shops around, and their revenue is like I think it's a few $100 million. And we were there, and we tried to sell them. They asked us to buy a web shop, and then we do the small presentation about how do we do that, what's our process. And they said, okay, we would like to have, like, I don't know, this integration, that, I don't know, whatever. And I said, okay, the price will probably be somewhere there. I said, oh, this is too much for us. And it was like, okay, this is a shock. So you have 6 stores that you invested, like in each store, like, I don't know how much money. And now you're not prepared for this, to invest this kind of money in a web shop. And it was pretty cheap at the time. We are still smaller company than we are now, and had different appetites or needs. But it was very interesting. It was very good to stop even right there, because if you don't want to invest, if you don't have time for doing all the back-end things needed, and you don't want to invest the money, it's better to stop right away than to go into it and then, okay, we are not satisfied and got into conflict with the client. So that's also good to stop it earlier. And those things written there is like sincerity and the truth and direct communication. I think those are, I talk too much on this slide. I think those are very important ones. So, sales and pricing, great. We decided not to sell people directly. Everything that I've written there could and will change probably into time. We are focused, or I'm focused in sell processes to sell the project, and in our estimations we do in our initial estimations, when we need to do some fixed quote or some budget for client, even maybe before discovery. The estimations are done mostly by my partner and me. He's more technical, and I'm more everything else. And in some cases, we give those initial estimations to senior developers to just check or go through some things. Lately, I try to push it more to developers, but I still need to check it later. And it's one way to do it. And we also we need to manage all the people internally, and for each teams we try and we push to have senior on team that's more than 3 and more people. And okay, we grow, and we have And there are changes. There are, yesterday also one of unsolvable things were maintenance and support. As you move forward, you get some projects that you need to do some maintenance, you need to do some support, and if you do Agile Scrum, if you have tight schedule that we try to do, everything is on try basis here, then it's not good to move people out of that Scrum team and do some work on some project he did like 6 months ago. But then again, sometimes that's necessary because for him it will take maybe only a few hours to solve something, and if you put a completely different person, if you have a dedicated maintenance team, it will take them a longer time. But these things also changes as you grow because the context of everything changes, and maybe we'll have first level support later on that will take the initial requests from clients, and maybe the client will have a dedicated maintenance team because the project is larger. Everything is open. This is our way to do it, but other also okay, I think. A little bit about services and values. So we are full stack. That's great because it was just the way to do things. I needed one developer, one designer. I needed now a marketing guy. As we grow, I like to have more things under control. But there are many examples, especially in Drupal community, and there are many talks where the natural way in Drupal community is like the smaller agencies to start working for larger agencies, and later on they start hiring smaller agencies, and that's something like small big fishes all around Drupal. And it's very good to collaborate, so you can find as in doing modules and all other things, you can find companies and you can collaborate with them. It's not easy, but it's feasible, possible. What's also important, but I think it's important for all the jobs, small, big, is to nourish knowledge, confidence, experience. It comes with time, but if you take Drupal is very hard. You can't take it superficially and just, oh, I'll do something there. Regarding that, also those small projects there, I had to build one site on Wix for my sister-in-law. We started Drupal there, but I didn't have resources and it was everything complicated, and she just wanted now this and then. She wants to move everything around, change everything. The site was changed 5 times in 12 hours. So we built it on Wix. I think even earlier I said to some clients, you don't need a website, you need a Facebook page, or we have a company that has yellow ads in Croatia, most popular, and just put your ads there. You don't need anything else because everyone that wants that service will first go there. So I don't think the website is the answer to everything. Maybe. Education. Yeah, that's very, very, very important. Lately, even more. Hopefully, there are some initiatives. There is one in London. I also heard yesterday on SIG, some other, hopefully in some not so long time, we will have some kind of Drupal Academy in Drupal software. I didn't wrote anything here in slides, but you have, I don't know, Drupal Ladder, like a project where you can learn Drupal. There is Drupal apprenticeship in London. They're doing, they are kind of successful. They are doing apprenticeship for young people, and they start working in Drupal. The people that are not even, maybe some are in IT, but some are even not in IT, but started working in Drupal, and they find a job for them, like maybe QA, maybe site building, something. So we talk on each CXO day, which I like, and in Drupal communities we always talk about hiring people. First two things yesterday was hiring talent and people, and second was clients. Those are two never-ending stories. So you always need to have a good people, and we also say yesterday the most hated thing for clients on CXO day. So it was awkward, but we started internally. We try to do it more. I try to push it more, but we started to do something called first we had educational days with some speakers, then we switched those educational days to contrib days. So we now have, officially we have 2 contrib days a month. Unofficially we try to do 1 at least. There's also initiative same as Amazy has, like to have a front end and back end meetings. As you grow larger, you need the way to share knowledge between your employees. And Contrib Day is nice because we push back the community, and then it's called Contrib Day, but you can use it for education, or you can use it for anything that's helpful to be better at what you do and to learn more. And also I think the Drupal camps are good. So we try to bring all the people at least to 1 Drupal camp a year. Next year maybe 2, because we'll do 1 in Croatia. And Drupal camps are great because you have so many great sessions and you can learn as I do. And you can choose from business topics to developer topics. You have everything covered there. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Project management. So, also one great thing and necessity. I say Agile. Agile. Yeah, I've done. I worked in different environments. I did stuff differently. There are many examples. There are companies that don't do Agile. Okay. Why this was very, very important for us. It was like, okay, I can do this. I love projects, management softwares, kanbanS, all the things there are. I tried, I think, everything on market. And I like to appoint stuff and tasks to people and do the micromanagement also. But I stopped doing that, at least a little bit. And the problem is, if you go, we grow very fast. We had the largest project, you will see, with in one point of time there were 14 developers there. And maybe we could have our own solution to project management. As many companies have their own variations of project management, and they do it well. And they can even do it well with 30, 40, 50 people. But on the end, the problem is, we were there, we need the team grow from 6 to 12 in 2 months, and then we had 3 months to deliver the software. And in those 3 months, we could maybe find our own project management and developing process, but we would maybe not deliver the software. So embracing Agile, we could hire an Agile coach, and we just use all the solutions there. And even in some point, I will show you a little bit later, it was additionally beneficial to us to do that. And the only thing, and what's great here, you have all the books. You have, there are Agile conferences. The last one was in Prague, I think, last year, 600 people or something. You can hire Agile coach, you have documentation, you have software that's supported, you have the whole ecosystem, and you can just use it. And in the start, if you are not sure how to do things, you just do as we did. So we do now in Jira, we do some of our own workflows, we do change stuff, but it's something that grow out of experience from previous projects, and it was not a fast transition. And in the start, we just use it, we just start Agile. Funny thing there, so just a little bit here more. Yeah, it's not easy. When we first started, we wanted to start it in the first 6 months of our company. We were on few camps. I think maybe we push it more further after the DrupalCon Amsterdam, but it was like a complete failure. I think, okay, we will not do the retrospectives, it's a waste of time. And we will like just use this little part of Agile, estimation, how should we do that? Maybe best in hours, not in points. We still have points in man days. We still did not completely transition to using points, as I think it's a process. I'm sure it's a process. It's not something you push Agile to the company, but time to adapt and to change to Agile is much longer than. It's not just the people will switch and you will have Agile company tomorrow. So it's something that management must push, and not only push, but also the people have to be open enough and to say, okay, why everyone is using that? And if you start with that, you have everything there, basic knowledge, coaches and everything, and then slowly you will see what things you want to do differently than it's written down there. Okay, one more thing about it. It's not all about development. I like Agile because we had a few courses, I have some, let's say, psychological knowledge and things I learned on college. We were talking about many things, communications, communication skills and how to do communication and stuff like that. And Agile is also great because it's the process that also has a social component there, and where people can, like retrospectives, when people can complain and get the burden of say what they mean. You must encourage that kind of. Lately I have an idea to open a company in India, but the main problem I have is, and I'm finding the solution, is how to change their culture. In terms, I want to have, like, if I'm going to have employees there, I want those employees to be agile, to be open, to be able to communicate, not just to say, yes, I will do that, and okay, and then does something completely different as a cultural thing. So it's an idea to start to educate their young people to do this and see how it will work. So on that, what Agile did for us on that very, very large project, it was very complicated, and we were still not so good in Agile, but we had an Agile coach all the time with us because we wanted someone who can follow us and help us. So this was one of the smaller dailies. This was the larger one, I think. And what was interesting there is the way we later on used Kanban, and this was directly, and I will explain those feature teams. This was directly something that our Agile coach switched us. So in the highest peak of development, we have dailies with 14 people, and it started to take 1 to 2 hours to just go around every issue and stuff we needed to talk about. And if you have 14 people standing around for 2 hours, it's like 2 man days. So I was looking from the side and see how the money is going down the drain, because we waste too much time on this. And one thing he did, and it's also in Agile, is these featured teams. It's large teams Agile. He was just observer, very good coach, and he said, okay, we will split the teams into 4 teams, and only 1 people from team will speak on daily. So we had like 4 teams, and only 1 person was speaking, and we shortened the dailies for an hour and a half. And in 20-30 days, we save like 60 development days. So it's a small thing to do, and he was not cheap, but I think he worth every penny. these are some Agile slides, but I will skip those. There are a lot of Agile things. Good things there, if you have someone or you want to go deeper in, you can do all the metrics. If you're in project management or business development, you can have all the ratios and metrics and stuff like that. And see, we also introduce quality assurance as a part of the sprint. There's just some things. Okay. And now something really complicated. So, I'm in HR longer than the company exists. So it was when we switched the brands. Our previous brand was Web Solutions HR. It was very meaningful. And the people who saw me on Drupal Camp or somewhere say, "Oh, you work in HR." And I said, no, I live there. This is my tech sentence and icebreaker. HR is a top-level domain for Croatia. Hrvatska is local name. So yeah, it's also a good domain if someone really works in HR. And so what to say about HR? We grow slower because we did some HR mistakes, or we hired the wrong person, or I was I didn't want to fire someone or to say goodbye with someone who was not the right person for our company or for team or for developers. Lately on, yesterday it was very good on 6 day because I see some other companies do the similar things we do. We started doing we modified the HR process in terms that we do first the interview and we get some CV from the employee, and if we like it, then we invite that person to come to our company for a day or some hours. Oh, we also do some small tests that can be done in a day or something. There are some occasions when we get the GitHub accounts or commits from someone that we could skip the testing the person, or if he has a Drupal org profile that he already contributes there, so we can just check what he does, what he contributes. And it's very important. I see also yesterday Amaze is doing it and some other company are doing it, is to invite person there and to see if the person is match for your developers, for your company. Because if there is no match there, I had an awkward situation, I don't know, year ago or something. I invited one front-end developer from some other town to come to Zagreb and to talk a little bit with the team. And he was there, and I just come down to the development room to team, and they started asking him a few questions. Oh, did you solve this thing? You know, they were just, as developers, they're curious and they need a solution. And they were working on something and asked him, did you ever see this? Did you solve this? Do you know how to do this? And I thought everything was fine. And then he called me I don't know, a few hours later, and he told me, I will not, I can't stand those kind of provocations. And I was, what happened? You know, who provoked you? What happened? Oh, those was very provocative questions there. I said, okay, see you, bye. Click. Provocative questions in development, what is that? It was very strange. So also we had some people in company for a longer time that were not matched for a company. That was one of the problems. And the other problem was that we started with some people that were there just for some time, and so what happens, it's not only if they are good or bad developers. If they don't match, or they can take you a lot more time than just their time and maybe some tutor time. It's they stir the teams you have, and then everybody talks about it, and then it becomes something different than a development company. I don't know exact word for it. Agile is also a great tool for HR, at least, but beside only Agile and retrospectives, and you also need to have like direct talks to every employee and to see if there's any problems. I heard in Google they have a person in HR that just walks around and see if everybody, if someone feels bad, and it comes to him and say, oh, what's the problem? Can I help you? You know, and I think everyone knows, all the companies knows how important that is. So, yeah, here is the way we change. We are not yet fully there, but we changed the whole hiring process. And yesterday it was very good to see that Amazee also have the same hiring process. They even fly in their people from all around, because lately we also have distributed developers that are not even in the same time zone. So, and the last thing I really like, or not like, it's duty to party ratio. It's more or less, I don't know, unofficial, but something I think it's important. Because initially when we started, we wanted to have a company that's also good for us. So if something is nice for me, I want to feel like at home. You can say it's a Google thing, but I think it's something universal, more or less. There are freelancers. If you're a freelancer, you can like walk around a little bit, lay down for half an hour, or do stuff like that, because it's just something you need to do at that point of time. So, yeah, we try to go to some kind of parties and to have some internal parties, or it doesn't have to be sometimes something that's very big or very official, but it's good to have those things. It's maybe in Agile, or that there is also a gamification things that are starting to come out. We'll see how will that work. It's hard to implement, but those are things that I also use. Like we on contrib day or educational days, it's less formal, so you can drink, not too much. You're more relaxed, and all the communication is more relaxed. It's nothing that we need to do this day to day to finish it, or there's no pressure in that kind of sense. So I think it's important. And yet, on the other hand, and also some other companies ask me, oh, well, how can you do the contrib days, 2 days a month? It's like 10% of your time, and then you have some other things like national holidays, and your work time is shorter, and then means, in the end, that means only one thing, that you must be a little bit more expensive to be able to accommodate that, but also those are some ways I think that will make better productivity in the teams and better cohesion between employees and teammates, and in the end it will produce more value to company. And maybe also one thing I didn't wrote here is some kind of loyalty you want to build. I heard from other companies bigger, if you have a good company, if you have everything okay, if you have a good teams, then the loyalty will be higher and the people are less keen to go away. Okay, you must also confirm that with the paychecks, but that's normal, we all have to live. So I think that was all from me. Do you have some questions? I can repeat, it's no problem.
I knew. Hey, good. So thank you for the presentation first, because I guess it's a good idea to do like a recap about all your working processes, how is your company, how you do things, what you consider good or bad. But in that way, we've been discussing a lot of things in the CXO yesterday regarding, how it's difficult to find customers or talent. But doing this kind of presentations, I guess people will want to work with you, or even they want to work in your company. So I guess it was a really, really good presentation. So thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
my
much.
question is, what are the most common problems that you find when you are working with outsourced companies? Like when you are outsourcing or when some company outsources to you? What are the most common handicaps or problems?
Okay, so we tried the first outsourcing. We tried with an Indian company. I met the guy in Drupal IronCamp London, so it was not just the company I found online and said okay, or some of the mails I received in hundreds. It was a guy I really knew. I met him there. We talked a lot, and he showed me their processes, their QA process, and stuff like that. And I think it was also somewhere there when we were in the most, when we didn't have any more developers, and we were in the peak of that GoSend.com project. And we hired them to do some module. So the one problem was first problem is NDA, because you need to be confidential, and then how confidential can you be with some of those clients. But I also had the confidence in him because he was, I get the impression that he will obey the NDA, because you can have the contract, but the contract is just a piece of paper, and the damage done can be much larger than that. So that the other issue was the other issue is sometimes to outsource part of the work, and if you don't want to show everything to that company, you need to prepare what will you outsource, and sometimes that takes more time than actual work on outsourcing. Yeah. So that was one issue we had there. I'm thinking other problems. I don't know. Thank you. And yeah, I forgot to say, it was a crappy code we get back. The QA, we need to do the QA and then we need to rewrite everything, so it was bad. I don't say every Indian company is bad, but I know the good ones are even more expensive than Europe guys, and I believe Eastern Europe is very good for good talent. We build them from scratch. We have, I think Dalibor there is now a senior Drupal contributor in 1 year. Lately I was contacted by the local college also to found the Drupal Academy there, because they have their intranet system built on Drupal 6, and they use it for, I don't know, 6-8 years now. And it's so successful, they started renting that software to some other universities or small schools. And the problem for there is also people to work on it. And we were thinking about having some educational days also, some education, shorter education in our company, just to get some PHP or other developers to come and to pick some of those. We have a company in Osijek that has their own PHP academy, and they find talents there. So they have a school. The people pay them to come there to learn PHP, and then they select the best ones and put it into the company. I was thinking of similar model here in Drupal, and it's not easy. So we start. We hire people. We try to. Lately, we find senior Drupal developers out. The latest one is currently living in Mexico, and that's also I heard Amaze is doing in other companies because. But I do think that the balanced team with maybe few seniors and younger persons like juniors or apprentices of some way, in time they will. If you need to nourish like everything, I really push Drupal every day. You know, I'm there. I say, okay, try to. Did you find a model? Can you contrib? Can you change this something there? Can we push something? And also, the Drupal is great for career. And I tell every employee, it's very hard for us because we are open. We have all our employees are on Drupal.org. Everyone can be contacted, but from every other company. And Amaze has the same thing, and it's like it was a decision. Yeah, we want to go that way. So the risks are high because a larger company with more money can take your developers. But then you try to have some other things that will push them or invite them to stay and to stay working there, to have a good teammates, to have a good working environment, shielded from maybe too much pressure, because there must be some boundary between your developers and the client. And if you try to do a better project management, not push too many tasks. We also try, as we are both from developers background, not to do context switching for developers. It's not always possible. It's not possible for every developer, but we try as much as possible now. So yeah, we also have hiring. We are hiring here. You can see our office in 3D there on both outside. I don't know. We do bad jokes. We have lunch every day together, free of charge, stuff like that. You know, whatever we can, slowly to have like better environment for developers. And as we are still small and we are not media exposed in Croatia, there are not developers just coming back to us. Lately more from Drupal community, because we try to stay on the first page of Drupal.org marketplace, to be there, present. But we are so small that it's not easy thing to do. We also had in few points of time a dedicated developer doing the contributions, and it's expensive for us because the developer team is still small, and if you put 20-30% of your resources to Drupal community, it's not a small percentage of resources committed there. Yeah, no real answer there. That was yesterday. It just I'm okay. Thank you all.